3 for 5 at One Youngster is recorded live in front of a mythical audience. Yeah, late ill kid at One Youngster doing his thing, and I'm so glad it is Thursday. I am back. That's right, we here. 3 for 5 at One Youngster at your service. Let's go in and get it started. Today, let's go in and start it off with why the grind is important. Now, a couple of people asked me, like, why I do so many extra projects and why I'm, working on this and that and involved in like my own business and, in a partnership and everything with YouTube. And it's because you want to, in my opinion, you want to be able to sit back and say, I've accomplished even more than I expected to. And usually, like, when I consider grinding, when I think about grinding, I think about working at a level that you don't even think is possible, or at least trying to, like, it's like, when people say, like, I don't sleep, or, I don't stop, like, literally trying to work to a point where you're like that. Now, of course, that's not possible, but, when you're working towards that, when you're striving for that, you look back at your week, or you look back at your day and you think, man, I finished all this, because and time flies because you're so focused in. Now, of course, I don't, before I get into it, I don't, expect people to try to do this 24/7 and every single day of the week, because you do need to recharge your batteries. But the reason the grind is important is so that you can not only stay focused on what's important to your goals, whether it be creative, whether it be legislative, whether it be, administrative, whatever your industry is. If you're always focusing on what the end goal is and continue working towards it, you're, bound to, like, just make strides that you didn't even think were, possible. So, for instance, right now my grind is, I get up, I have my 9 to 5, I have my YouTube partnership, I have my Instagram artwork, I have like photo manipulation stuff that I get done, and I'm always creating and I'm always staying busy, being artistic, being, kind of like surrounded by entertainment, surrounded by creativity. So it helps me, even when I'm resting and relaxing, to be able to help people with advice, to kick out an idea real quick. It also helps me, and it'll help, whoever else, over time, to be able to turn it on and turn it off. And what I mean by that is, a lot of times artists will say that, you need a muse, or you need to be inspired to do something, or you need to, like, get a certain, mental or intellectual spark before you, make a decision or work on some art. Now, once you get used to, working under deadlines, or handling multiple projects, or working with, like, cascading deadlines and things like that, or even, like, revolving requests, you'll get used to being able to turn it on just like that. You'll be able to just turn it right on immediately and say, okay, it's time for me to create. Okay, it's time for me to do a photo shoot. Okay, it's time for me to do matte painting. Okay, it's time for me to do some copywriting. Okay, it's time for me to edit. Whether it's film or, whether it's just normal copy, you'll be able to turn it on and have that eye sharpened and ready. And that's one of the most important things for being on your grind, is because you're going to be able to sharpen your skills even further. So the first thing is that, the grind is important because you're going to be able to accomplish things that you didn't even think were possible, because you're going to be pushing yourself to work at, like, almost 100%. The second thing is that you're going to be able to sharpen your skills and sharpen your talents to be able to move when you need to move. So you won't be in a situation where, say you're like, well, I don't really feel like I'm in the mood for drawing or whatever. You can just kind of sit down and be like, okay, let's go. The third and probably biggest reason I say that the grind is important is because when you look back at it, you're going to feel so much gratification, because you're going to be able to look at yourself and say, dang, like I did it. And there's something gratifying. I mean, of course, when other people give you accolades, that's great, but just to know that you passed your own litmus test is something that, you can't duplicate that feeling. To set out a goal and look and say, man, I thought I could do this and I did it. And, I impressed even myself, especially with, the high standards that you have. So those are my reasons why the grind is important. I'm pretty sure you guys have yours. Feel free to drop in the comments and let me know what's up. Of course, we got to move it on. Yeah, now there was this moment in Musiq that if you blink, you probably would have missed it. But it was a moment where you had The Roots, you had D'Angelo, you had Mos Def, you had Talib Kweli, you had my girl Erykah Badu, you had Bilal, you had James Poyser, and you had the man Dilla, JD, that rounded out this crew that came together called the Soulquarians or the Soulquarians. And this moment in history was kind of like where you had like a lot of hip hop, funk infused soul music, and you had like D'Angelo with his Voodoo album. You had like Erykah Badu with Mama's Gun. You had Mos Def and Kweli coming off of the success of the Blackstar album. The Roots were doing like songs like You Got Me, albums from Common, like Water for Chocolate. And for just this one moment, you had this like cool collective of just music and artists that were, I guess, similar or like-minded. And it was just so amazing to see what came out of that. Like, you had these albums that were just, I guess you could say eclectic. You had some very, very incredible, like sample choices, drum pattern choices. You had these great, songs and chorus choices. And just the collaboration between them was just something that I don't think we've seen since. It's been a long time since we've seen something like the Soulquarians or the Soulquarians put together, because I think it was just ripe for that time. So with this post, I just want to kind of sit back for a moment and, appreciate the kind of music that came out. Like, you had Like Water for Chocolate, which was an album by Common. At that time, Common was working like heavily with like JD and The Roots. You had The Roots coming out with the album Things Fall Apart, with You Got Me, with Jill Scott and Erykah Badu, things like that. And then you had situations with Kweli working on his album Quality. Like, you just had a moment where it was just some banging stuff coming out. Like, you had Bilal's, I believe at that time his first joint was coming. I don't know if it had dropped yet, but I think his first joint was on the way at that time. And Bilal was just kind of like blowing it up on just doing like choruses and things of that nature. And he was like really, really killing it, doing like just these added vocals, you know what I'm saying? It, like, what was it? Let's see, not You Got Me, but the song Break You Off, where him and Musiq at the end of the song kind of like go into this extended and elongated, edition of just singing riffs and things like that. And it was just soulful and just dope. And I don't think we've had that kind of collaboration in a long time that I really, really like to see. A lot of artists that are like, I guess you could say like-minded, get together and just make something different from the norm. Because at that time, we were coming into, like the new millennium and stuff, and we had, like 02, 03, something like that, like 01, around that time. And, you know, we didn't really have anything like them. And before them, we didn't really have like a collective that was so diverse musically. Because even though they were like-minded, Voodoo didn't sound anything like Mama's Gun. Or, you know, Things Fall Apart didn't sound anything like, you know, Voodoo, or it didn't sound like Water for Chocolate. And it was just something that was really, really impressive. So I would love to see that. But, of course, comment down below. Share your love for the Soulquarians. You know, J Dilla, The Roots, Common, D'Angelo, Erykah Badu. Might as well throw Jill Scott in there, even though she wasn't exactly in there, but I mean, she was sort of in there. You know, Mos Def, Kweli, James Poyser, man, like, that was some great stuff. Well, on to the next. All aboard the Spider-Man hype train. Yeah, this is a quick download on everything that's been going on in the Spider-Man world for Homecoming. All right, check it. So, Sony's new film, which is under the MCU Marvel banner now, is going to be named Spider-Man Homecoming. I'm pretty sure you all know that. And lately, there's been a lot of casting news. There's been a lot of rumblings. But I'll be honest, when I first heard that Spider-Man was coming back to Marvel, I was like, so what? Because I felt like I was so just inundated by Spider-Man in the last like 10 years or so. I just felt like, man, I'm tired of Spider-Man, and I don't care if Marvel has him or not. Now, a little film by the name of Civil War came out and completely changed my thinking. Civil War came out, and I was like, you know what? I really like this Spider-Man. And I really want to spend some more time seeing his adventures. Now, of course, people might say that he's like been overexposed, and yes, he has. Spider-Man has been overexposed for a long time. But I think this is one of these situations where even though he's overexposed, man, it feels so good to see like the way he interacted with the other heroes, the way the Russo brothers used them. And so now I'm hyped. Now, joining the hype train, we get all this casting information. We get casting information about Hannibal Buress and, you know, Donald Glover and Abraham Attah, you know, and you're already looking like, dang, we're getting some low-key dope actors. You know what I'm saying? We're getting some really dope actors on the sneak tip. And then you look and you're like, oh, well, I forgot. You know what I'm saying? You forget that, like, yo, Marisa Tomei is Aunt May. She's a dope actress. You know, she also fine. Hashtag don't tell my wife. But, and I forgot low-key that Tony Stark gonna be in this joint. So you're looking at this film like, yo, man, not only are we gonna have a stacked cast, but we already have like another Avenger in this film already. I'll be honest, I never thought, like, if you would have told me before Civil War that, you know, yo, man, Spider-Man Homecoming is going to be a film that you're looking forward to. You know, there's going to be all this great casting rumors. There's going to be like a shroud of secrecy. There's going to be set photos with him and James Gunn and Chris Pratt. There's going to be all this stuff, and you're going to be so excited. I'll be like, man, whatever, man. I'm done with Spider-Man for right now. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't feeling the Amazing series. I'm just done with it. And, you know, flash forward, I'm like, yo, the only thing I'm more hype about Spider-Man right now is Black Panther. But, yo, that kid Tom Holland, though, like, for real, though, the kid came with it. And his I guess his comments, the way he related to the other characters, it's really got me hyped. And now knowing that Marvel is definitely in full control, you know what I'm saying, of this whole Spider-Man thing. Like, you know, Sony trying to like save face and be like, oh, you know, it's a co-production. Nah, that joint is like, this is a Marvel production. And we just letting you You know what I'm saying? We letting you tag along. But you know what I'm saying? Like you got, you know, the love interest is Zendaya, and like it's just, yo, the cast itself already has me hyped. Like this is gonna be like, and after hearing like Kevin Feige's comments about going like kind of like a route with some levity, kind of like some, you know, Ferris Bueller type stuff, I'm like super excited for this character that I was done with, you know, a little more than a few months ago. So I gotta be honest, yo, I am on the hype train. I have gotta admit it. I don't want to admit it because I was so done with Spider-Man, but I guess I wasn't really done with Spider-Man. I was done with Sony or Sony's version of Spider-Man. But Sony is kind of messing up on a lot of stuff. There's another franchise, but we ain't gonna go there. Right now, we talk about Spider-Man and how dope it is. Of course, jump down in the comments below and let me know what's up, y'all. Of course, I hope that I can trust and count on y'all, that y'all are on this hype train too, and it's not just me. Anyway, I guess I'll see y'all next time.
3 for 5 at 1 Youngster is brought to you by A Full Tang Design. Also sponsored in part by Naswip and Xrifo.
Sweet